I went to Antigua the year 2000, August 2000. And I reached Antigua, was a late flight in the night. I think the flight got in around 9 something the night. From the airport was me and 2 other girls. The aunt was in the church. We went straight to church. They had an all-night meeting at church, all night till next morning. I was so tired and so exhausted because I've never went through something like this before. So, I was like kind of not happy because I expect to go Antigua to reunite with my sisters because I have 2 other sisters, and to see my mom, who I didn't see for a while. I came on Friday night. The Saturday was in church. I went to church on Sunday. It was all day, all till midnight. We went home. This was something that I never experienced before. It was very difficult for me, hard, because I came from Guyana not to experience this. When my mom was sending for me, she told me she was sending to me to go to college. So I went to Antigua with a mindset to go to college because my dream was to become a doctor. I was so good in science. I was very smart in science. I did well in school. I wanted to be a doctor so bad. The Tuesday night, I went back to church. I was so tired because since I came from Guyana, I didn't get to rest. So he said to stand, and I didn't stand because I didn't see it as a crime or something if I didn't stand. So he yelled at me for not standing, like embarrassed me in front of the entire church. And I felt so bad. So when I went home, my mom was like, "Oh, you're not going to disrespect him because I didn't have all the money to buy your ticket. And he gave me some of the money to buy the ticket." My mom was with this man that I know because I visited Antigua in 1995 and I went back to Guyana for school. So I knew my mom was with this man who had loved us, who had loved my mom. His kids had loved my mom. My mom was good. At that time, she was able to take care of us. When I went back, it was totally different. She was struggling so much because he let my mom leave the man. I was in the house for 1 whole year. 1 whole year in the house doing nothing. I used to hide from immigration. When I hear knocking on the door, I had no time, nothing. I was just there. I started to feel frustrated. There were many days. Things used to come to my mind to run away. I used to hear like voices telling me to run away. But then at the same time, I didn't want to hurt my mother. I was there in the house with my sisters, hungry. Many days we was hungry in the house, nothing to eat. I used to search every corner of the house for cents, all under the bed. Me and my sister would climb up and search the ledges of the house for cents. so that we can make up 60 cents to send one of the neighbor childs to the nearby shop to buy a pack of Kool-Aid, because we were so ashamed. And we would make one whole mug of drink with that small pack of Kool-Aid and drink it. There was this auntie, a neighbor by the name of Gwendy Joseph. She's from Bowlands. Gwendy saved us many days from hunger. She would give us a hot dog, or sometimes some macaroni and cheese, or bread and something to eat, because we had nothing to eat. I used to get away sometimes on Saturday and go visit my aunt, because my mom never wanted us to speak to our aunt. I have one aunt in Antigua, one. And
stick a pin there. Stick a pin there. Let me say something. The Desmond couldn't speak to the aunt because we weren't allowed to speak to family members. They were devils. Anybody out the church was devils, so she wasn't allowed to speak to any family members. Go ahead, Desmond.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, so I used to get away and go by my aunt, and then I have to look left and right and center and back to see if any one of the church people see me, because if they see me going to my aunt to rebuke the punishment, it wasn't easy. So one day I said to my aunt, I am so tired of being in the house, not doing anything. I said, this is not my life. I used to live with my grandmother in Guyana. My grandmother took care of us. We was never hungry. We never in need of anything. We was fine. I grew up without a father. But my grandmother always made sure there was food on the table. They always made sure we went to school and everything was fine. So when my mom decided to send for me, I thought it would be for a better opportunity. I thought that I was able to go to college, that my dream would come true, that I was able to become the doctor that I wanted to become. Not knowing it was a nightmare. Then in 2002, my mom sent me to learn sewing by one of the church sisters to work with her. She would pay me $250 a week. I said to my mom, this is not what I want. I don't want to sew. I want to go to college. Sewing is not my passion. This is not what I want. I would go because I had no choice. And I was throwing a susu with this sister. And I saved that money. And I gave someone in Antigua the money to go and get time for me at the immigration. That's how I get my time. My mom or no one never helped me to get time. And then working with her wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. There were times one day her husband came in there with his muddy boots. She told me clean it. There were so many other things. Then my aunt went and registered me for school. I went to Goodwin's. At that time he had a commercial doing business. And I said to my aunt, I said, I will go, but this is not where my heart is. This is not what I want to do. I said, I want to be a doctor. I want to be in the medical field. I went to the pastor and I told him, I said, my aunt took me to register me to school. I want to go back to school. He asked me, who is going to pay the school fee? I said, my aunt. He said, no, he will pay it. He said, he will pay it because my aunt was unsafe. I said, okay. So he paid the school fee. When was my final exam? He didn't left any money for me to do it. He went to Ghana. Elizabeth Saunders paid for me to do my final exam. And I'm grateful for her. And I thank God for her. And that's why today I stand with Nadia and I support her, because what they are doing to her is so wrong. Nadia grew up with us. She spent many Christmas by my home. My home was like a hotel. My home was like a shelter. My mother's house was like those refugee places. Everybody that came to the house, he would send them there to live. There are so many people, we couldn't even get enough food to eat, proper sleeping quarters. All of us have to be bunked up in the house. At one time, there was no water. We had to fetch water, pump water from the pump in the yard, that the neighbors was getting tired of us because when we pumped the water, the breeze would blow and wet up outside by the neighbor, and they would be angry. But we had no choice because we needed water to bathe, we needed water to drink, we needed water to cook. And there was no one to help us, but all it does was sending everybody to our home. There's so many of them that used to live in our house with us. Even the young girl, Jadelle, that is pregnant for him today, the pastor, she used to live with us. She grew up with us. In 2005, I got married August 6th to my husband. I remember in 2004, it was a Sunday, I will never forget. I was lying in my chair. There was this boy in the church named Alfred. He called me, he said, my friend has something to ask you. I was like, what? I never expect him to ask me to marry me, but he asked me to marry me. I said no at first. Then he persisted, and he behind me to marry me, claiming that he loved me. And then I decided to say yes. I am the daughter-in-law of Eugene Willock, one of them that was fired from Strathfield's funeral home. My husband died in 2011 in a car accident at Cage Bay. I guess everyone in Antigua knew about the accident. He used to work at ONDCP, the young boy Jason Willock. I have 2 children for him. I left the church in 2012, late 2012, before I migrated to New York in 2013. When I migrated, I never used to speak to nobody. I never talked to no one. Never used to communicate with these people because I wanted nothing to do with them. I just wanted a new life because I was hurt. I was broken. And I felt like nobody had understood my pain of what I was going through. Losing my husband, has to raise my children on my own. It started to affect me. And nobody could see that I was hurting, that I was broken. I thought at one time when my husband died, I felt like if I was losing my mind because it wasn't easy. I was going through so much at work. Plus I have to deal with them, with his parents. What hurt me the most, when my husband died that night, I was at work. You can check records. I used to work at the prison. You can check on the 4th of November 2011. You can call the prison and ask them. I worked to the 10th shift that day. I was calling him to pick me up from work. He never answered his phone. I got a ride home from one of my co-workers. It was so strange that night. It was such a strange night. I just find myself looking at all of our pictures. Then I went to sleep. I had just go in a doze when I hear my phone ring. It was his father, who told me he just got into an accident and they are coming to pick me up, take me to the hospital. They never told me that he had died. When I got to the hospital, there were so many ambulances, sirens, pushed the door until I was able to get in. And all I saw was him lying there with a funnel in his mouth. He had died. I thought I was losing my mind. I cried, not only for me, but I was broken because of my 2 children. What is it? I didn't know what I was going to tell my kids. How I didn't even want to face them, to tell them that they would not see the father no more. I was there on the bed 7 days, 7 nights. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink for 7 days, 7 nights. I was just there trembling on the bed. I cried. And then I found out that my husband had just left a woman's house when he got into the accident. In fact, my husband's mother had even encouraged him to move out from me because she told him that I was going to kill him, which wasn't true. Now, Nana told my husband's parents that how I killed him. He told my husband's parents I killed my husband. Every meeting, this man would call my name. Like, I asked myself, why is it this man is after me so much? He will call my name every meeting. The last one, first I heard that he said, oh, I was going to die. And I sent him a message and told him, he and his half-dead wife gone dead before me and let him continue to live in peace. I think that hit him. He even called me and he lied and said, oh, God revealed to him to help Jadel financially and how he has never lost after any of the women in the church. I knew that was a lie. I told my sister when I get off the phone that he was lying. I didn't believe him. Then he continued to call my name. Even when I got my green card, he wanted me to give up my green card. I was supposed to make my son, give birth to my son in St. Thomas. And he preached against it. I didn't get to go St. Thomas to make my son. They so wanted me to give up this green card. He even encouraged Lady Elizabeth Saunders and my husband's mother to denounce the American citizenship, but they never did it. They had never did it. And every night, this man keep calling my name. This man went as far as to pray for me to die. He told my kids' grandmother not to speak to my kids, not to speak to me until I die. He prayed for me and my kids to crash up in car and die. He had given me 7 days to live. But thank God, I am still alive. I'm still here. when I was going to the funeral, he told me if I behaved bad at the funeral, that my life would cut short. But if I behave good, I will live. And then when was my grandmother's 70th birthday? That was before my husband died. My husband always promised me that when we got married, he would send me back to visit my grandmother, whom I didn't see for years after I left Guyana in 2000. So in 2011, March was my grandmother's 70th birthday. And my husband bought me and the kids ticket to go to Guyana. When I came back, he said to me that the plane should have shaken with me and my children. And from since then, I had questions in my mind about this man because I couldn't understand why he would say something like that about me and my children. And I went, it's my own grandmother who raised me. Because when I went to Antigua, I was 17 plus, almost 18. I went to August, and I was going to be 18 in October. So I was grown. But I didn't have a choice. Even though I might be 18, was still under my mother. I didn't have no time. I didn't have no job. I didn't have nothing. I didn't know much about the country because I went there when I was small. So I didn't know nothing much because I wasn't allowed to speak to my aunt and all these things. I didn't have friends and all these stuff. So I didn't know. The only thing I could do is submit because a lot of people would be out there and said, oh, but she's big. Why did she stay in there? But it's not easy and simple as it may look on the outside. You have to be in there to really know what's going on, to feel and to experience what we experience is nothing easy. Even up to now, he has been praying death on me and my children. He sent me, I cursed him off on Facebook because I was angry because he said my husband should have never married me. He should have married Jadelle. That's the girl that's pregnant for him right now. And I told him that I will always be Mr. Desmond Willow and leave me alone. That's what I told him. It's on my Facebook page. You can go look at it. And he sent me a threatening message saying, oh, I made a big mistake and I wish I was never born. And I have that message. I snapshot it before he could have cleared it, and then he blocked himself. Then he sent message to my kid's phone saying that I'm a wicked mother, I'm a wicked woman. But before it could have come into my kid's phone, I had already blocked this number from my kid's phone. So my kids couldn't see it. But I was told what he sent to me. And he prayed in church for me to die. He had given me 7 days. Then when the 7 days passed, and I'm still alive, he told them that my son would be the one to kill me. My kid's grandmother is not allowed to speak to me or my kids because he is paying the rent and paying for the vehicle that my kid's grandfather drive. Eugene and DeLacy don't need nobody to pay the rent nor the vehicle. It is a way to keep them because DeLacy is a supervisor at the post office and Eugene was working Stratfies for all these years for good money, plus he's receiving his pension. So there is no way they need Nana to pay the rent of the vehicle. He's doing that to keep them from not coming out and to get at me. My sister was one of them. Yeah?
Hold on. This Nana does not work any place. He gets his money from the people in the church. Most of his money come from Miss Sanders. So we will see that Miss Sanders is no longer. Where is money going to come from?
Yes, because little before Sanders died, he cursed the people out in church and told them that their tithes is nothing. If it wasn't for Elizabeth, he don't know what they would have done. He make everybody write down how much money they are working for so he could have calculated how much tithes he's supposed to get. That is what's going on in the church right now. My sister was one of them that got kicked out the other day. She was one of the 4 because she disagreed with him and she stood up for me when he prayed for death on me. She stood up and defended me. And the reason why he mad because his lying wife went and lied on me. She came to America 1 year and said she wanted to meet me. She said to me that Straffi's daughter, Nadia, was going to pick her up to bring her for her to see my children. She so wanted to see my children. I don't know why all of them is after my children. And I gave them, I said, okay, because that Sunday I had to work. I was working, and I know there's no way that I wouldn't reach home from work in time to cook and everything for them to come. So I gave them the restaurant number. I said, I'm going to take them to dinner. So I even took a taxi and come home. I was rushing to get ready to meet them at the restaurant. So I called Nadia and I said, Nadia, I'm running a little late. She said, I am not going because I'm not feeling well. I said, did you tell Stella? Because his wife named Stella. They call her Stella, but her real name is Donna. I said, did you tell her? She said, yeah, she called her and tell her. So I called Stella and I was like, oh, Nadia said that she's not feeling well. She's not going. She said yes because her sister is doing taxes, so she don't know she's going to get to come. I said okay because my kids had already dressed because I had leave their clothes and everything for them to get dressed. And the night around 11, 12 o'clock, I heard my phone was ringing, and I'm telling you the honest truth. When I answered my phone, all I was hearing like Chinese. I don't know if the line had crossed or what. And like every time I keep answering it and I wasn't hearing anything, I'm just hearing this Chinese thing. So I said to my son, listen, I'm going to sleep because I had to go to the police headquarters early in the morning because I was getting into the police academy. And I have to take my kids by my friend mom early that morning for them to take them to school so I can take the train to go to the police headquarters. So I didn't have time to stay up to figure out who trying to get me. I think 2 or 3 days after she went back to Antigua. Then one day I came out to school and then my phone rang because I was in college at the time. And she said to me, oh, I told Nana that, you give me wrong address. I was like, what? I said, I never give you wrong address. I give you the address for the restaurant because I was going to take you guys to dinner. She said, oh, she had dried fruits for my children. Why you bringing dried fruits for my children? Did I tell you my children hungry? Why didn't you take the dried fruits for the children in the church? I don't want no dried fruits for my children. So she mad because she didn't get to give my children the dried fruits. So she went back and tell him her own story, and he believed her. And my sister defended me and said to him, I asked my sister that story over and over, and if she was lying, she would have changed her story. And she kept telling me the same story, so I know my sister is not lying. And from that day, that man has something against me and my sister. Right now, my sister is fighting for her marriage because her husband is still in church and he's encouraging these men to go and with other women. Right now, the children in the church, and I'm calling on the government of Antigua and Barbuda, the CID, and everybody, human rights, to investigate, because the children in church are sent to the bathroom, those from age 11, to play with themselves, because he said that, they have to start having feelings. So the children now are feeling up each other. The grown men in the church are having sex with the young girls in the church. Marriages are being destroyed. One of the followers that left because he is teaching about the third eye, about the pineal gland, and she said her son woke up 4 o'clock in the morning practicing it and get attacked twice. They was told to throw away the Bible. They don't pray to God, they pray to infinite spirit. Every Thursday night they used to have to walk with yoga mat, and they used to have to sit down like the Hindus and make some song calling the spirits. My mom don't speak to me. Me and my mother haven't talked maybe over a year now, because he told my mom not to speak to me. He even went as far to ask my mother if I die, how she would feel, and she said, no way. This is what is going on in the church right now. And if the government doesn't put a stop to this man, lives will be destroyed. They will be whipping and gashing in Antigua. Somebody is going to end up in jail. People, I'm telling you, because not everybody is going to take this thing with their husbands. Having affair with these young girls that we watch born and grow up in the church to sleep with people's husband. What is that? I don't understand how come so many Antiguans are quiet about this thing. Is it because most of the people in the church are foreigners? Is what I wanted to know. But what they don't know, these foreigners' children are in the schools in Antigua, and one of them is going to molest somebody.
They're Antiguans.
Going to molest somebody.
The children are Antigans, but the thing is, if he's telling the kids to go to the bathroom and touch themselves and touch each other, possibilities are that they're going to go to school and do it to other kids. Because there is a young man that is in jail right now for murder. His case was recently completed and he got 15 years. What's his name?
Timothy Jackman, yeah.
That child, Timothy Jackman, was molested and he told Nana. And Nana did not help him. He told Nana. And that is why he ended up being gay in the homosexuality thing, because he was molested as a child. He was going to Villa School when it happened to him, and he went to Nana. I mean, as a leader, if a child, Villa School, this little boy was going to, and come and tell you that somebody molested him, why didn't you help him? So it's a serious case, because these are kids. I honestly don't care about what the big people do, but it's the kids.
These adults are turning harlots in the church. They are going after these married men. They are going after the married men. They have other men with their husband. They're going out having kids outside because he's encouraged. And if you think I'm lying, check on Pamela Sandy page right now as we speak. Type in Pamela Sandy. On her page, she has polygamy marriage with this husband and I think 3 or 4 wives. She have it there. Basically, they're trying to say that nothing is wrong with it. That is African tradition. This is not Antigua tradition. This is not for the Caribbean. Why is he bringing this in the Caribbean, destroying these people's marriages? Look, let me tell you, actually every marriage in that church has been destroyed. And those that remain right now, some of them, the wives are out because 2 of them that got thrown out, the husband's still in there and they are worried.
He told my husband to leave me. To have other women, and I wasn't going to put up with that nonsense because I have children and I have daughters. I'm not going to live a life to let my daughters think that it's okay for them to be disrespected. And I don't want my sons to feel that it's okay to disrespect somebody else's daughter either. Right now, I have a son and a daughter that doesn't speak to me because they live with him because I had to run. And because my son is 17, my daughter is 16, and if the children try to talk to me at home, he plugs out the internet. I sent money for them to buy their phone so I could communicate with them. He plugs out the internet, or he tells them they cannot speak to me in the house just because I left the church, because Nana told them that I am a witch. Never practiced witchcraft yet in my life.
Talking about that, he said, I am a witch. I am the queen for the witches. I have 2 birthmarks. I have one on my forehead and one on my arm. I'm born with those birthmarks. He said I came from the marine spirit from under the sea. He told the young people in the church, do not marry anybody that has those black marks on their face and their arm because they are witches. So all of them see me as a witch, and I came from under the sea, from the marine spirit. So I said, okay, if I'm a witch, then you're a wizard. If I came from under the sea, then I'm on my way to your port. These are the things he has been telling the people them in the church. All these young people, there's a lot of them that have been speaking evil against me. People like Charmaine Brown, that's Patrick Briggs' daughter, that he is one of them that get fired from Strathfields Funeral Home. Gail and Titus, Shondell Bob, Althea Briggs. All these people, Lysandra Barnwell, all these people have been talking evil about me, and they have nothing, they don't know me. And as Anna mentioned earlier, that we couldn't even use contraceptive. I'm not going to lie, right after my son, I got pregnant and I did an abortion that a lot of people didn't know. I told him, and that was the biggest mistake I made, because when I left, he told the church I had an abortion. Now, if somebody confess something to you, why is it you have to go and tell anybody? But I'm not ashamed of it, and I don't care, because at that point, I couldn't afford it to mind 3 small kids at the same time. After that, I used to have to sneak and go to the pharmacy and buy morning after pill and drink it so that I wouldn't get pregnant again. These are the things that was going on, was controlling, manipulative. We couldn't go nowhere, couldn't watch TV, we couldn't listen to the news or nothing, couldn't take part in no school activity or nothing, because everything was carnal and it was of the world. We could only go to church or any church activity.
But we could not even listen to another pastor on the television, on the radio. You could not visit somebody else's church either, because he said all the pastors in Antigua going to hell.
And any one of them that go to heaven have to come through him. And anybody else that want to go to heaven, it must be through him. Otherwise, everybody else going hell. Right now, the people in the church, if you don't believe me, go visit them. See how they look mad. They can't perm their hair. They can't put braids in their hair. They can't put weave in their hair. If you look at his picture when he did the interview, you see his hair condition. They're not allowed to cut their hair. He told them, they're going to live longer. He told them to drink plenty Coke. Coke is good for them. Everybody know Coca-Cola gives diabetes and sugar. How could you tell these people to drink Coke? Tell the women and them, those that wear weave, they are witches and they're going to kill their husbands.
It was bad to the extent that he would do counseling, and you had to tell him how many times you had sex with your husband.
There was even one time when they was asking who was virgin when they get married, and I find that to be disrespectful. And I was there and I wasn't saying nothing, and the wife said to me, you're not saying nothing. Why do I have to tell you whether I was a virgin or not? That's between me and my husband. Why do you need to know who was virgin and who wasn't virgin? This man want to control everybody's life. When you're traveling, you have to tell him everything you're doing. You have to tell him. If you don't tell him, it's a problem. And that was one of the things, because I had to work, and I told him, when you see I don't come to church, it's because I'm working, and that is when I got to go into work 2 to 10. And he sent a message with my mom to give me some kind of funny message, and I got upset, and I said, you know what, that's it for me, I'm not going back. Then he went to Ghana, and then he sent me a message like, why I'm not coming? I said, you sent me a message, and he swear and said he never sent me no message, which I knew he was lying, because my mom would never create something and say what he didn't say. And I said to myself, I'm not going back. So I left. And when I left, he was upset. And people from the church told me that he's upset with me too, because he said that I never gave him any of my husband's insurance money that he died and left. Why do I need to give him my husband's insurance money when I have 2 small children to take care of? And he keeps saying, I'm ungrateful, I'm unthankful, he pays school fee for me. I didn't ask him to pay the school fee. My aunt was going to pay the school fee. And a matter of fact, When I had gotten some of the money from government, when my husband died, I gave him $4,000. So that $4,000, I pay him back for that damn school fee that he paid. Then I had a cousin that used to live with work for them. She died now. She is the one who brought out the situation. She called me one day crying, and she said to me, "You're the only one I trust to tell." And she said to me one morning, she went to work, the wife was in Guyana. And she said when she went up there, she saw Jadelle up there in the kitchen cooking spinach rice, and all the sheets and stuff was on the ground. And apparently, I don't know if one day she went up there too. I don't know if she saw them in the act or what. But it got back to him. He called them in the office and he said to her, "I will fire you." And then he didn't make her come back to work until the wife came back from Guyana. And she said when she went back, it was never the same again. Then she took sick. She had cancer. When she was in the hospital, they never visit her. They never call her. Her son had to end up going to the Jehovah's Witness people for help and for money to help with her. They flew her out to Jamaica, but she didn't make it. She died. And he said it's because she brought out the stuff with him and the young girl. He claiming that she lied on him. That's why she died. But it's not allowed because look, the fruit of his mouth. This girl is pregnant for him.
Clarice alone is not the only person that died that works in Nana House or get healed or anything. I brought a friend from Guyana some years ago, and she used to work for Nana. And this girl got staring mad, as in a mad woman, in a clothes her mind, was going to that church, working in Nana. And she came to Antigua a same person as I brought to Antigua. And she staring mad from working in Nana's house. I'm going to say what my husband quote and say, my ex-husband say. She look into Nana crystal ball and see something what she not supposed to see. And that's why she get mad. And right now she back in Guyana, same as how yeah.
And even the girl that pregnant for him, her mom go crazy too before she died. Joanna run mad before she died. I am pleading with Gaston Brown and the Christian councils in Antigua to come save these people because it's not fair. It's just not fair.
And like I would always tell people, Nana is a narcissist. He speaks very, very eloquently. And if you're not careful, you would believe every word that comes out of his mouth. But he is not who he's in. Because I listened to that interview that he did. And lies. Recently, he made the people, those who want to sit down in the front seat, they had to pay 1,000 EC per person if you want to be in the front row.
Oh, and in December, a seed. And the seed, you could only sow it in 4 incubates, like 400, 800, 1,200. And he raised $100,000. And he took $30,000 and he went to Africa first class ticket for a week. For 1 week, he told them he don't care if they take their rent money or not, or God is going to provide. How could you say God is going to provide, but when you're the same one that telling them God don't give you nothing, pray to the infinite spirit.
Like I said, I
Guyanese by
support
birth,
Nadia.
Support.
And I am looking forward to the Prime Minister of Antigua to do something about this before it gets bad. Like 76, a matter of fact, like 76 in Ghana before you guys find a building full of dead people.
With Nadia's situation, I'm asking people to support Nadia because Nadia herself went through a lot. A lot of them is saying that Nadia wasn't interested in her mother business, and that wasn't the case. Nadia didn't show interest because Nadia never wanted anything to do with them, because when Nadia was young, Nadia couldn't see properly in school, and Nadia needed glasses, and she told her mother not to give her no glasses. So up to this day, Nadia trouble with migraine because of that. So would they expect Nadia to be nice to them?
The same Patrick Briggs who Nadia sent home. Elizabeth brought up timber from Guyana, and she used to make furniture. She would make like chest of drawers, bed, household furniture. And Patrick would sell this furniture and sometimes sell the lumber. And when he sold them, he would take all of the money. That also helped. Right at the workshop where Elizabeth made her casket and her coffins, the piece of land where they have the lady
massage place,
massage parlor there. That piece of land was Elizabeth's land. Somebody from the church, she took a loan and asked Elizabeth to use it as collateral and never paid the loan. That's why Elizabeth lost that piece of land. So when they're like, when they're doing that to Nadia, it is not fair, because so many of them, all of them who went out there and protest, all of them who was on Jackie Quinn page insulting Jackie Quinn and insulting people, all of these people are people who Elizabeth helped.